Hello and welcome back to My Thoughts. So, this past week was April Fool's Day, and something everybody has been waiting for finally happened. I'm sure you could tell by the lab coat and the shirt. Rick and Morty Season 3 finally happened. So on April Fool's Day, Justin Roiland pulled the greatest April Fool's Day joke in the history of forever and released the new episode of Rick and Morty that, I hadn't even realized that we hadn't had a new episode of Rick and Morty in the entirety of 2016. And it was released on April Fool's Day on a continuous loop until midnight, and I saw 10 minutes in, I was like, oh, Justin Roiland posted on Twitter, it's on. What does that mean? And then the gears turned in my head, and once I realized it, I ran to the TV, which really, if I don't really show the layout of the room in a lot of the videos, but like bed here, computer here, TV slightly to the right. Like it's like 2 steps if I have a really long stride. Anyway, Rick and Morty Season 3, Episode 1, the Rickshank Redemption, was released, and it was phenomenal. So, spoilers if you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it, and you want to see it, it's probably on demand. If it's not on demand, it's gotta be online somewhere. I don't know if they have it officially online, but I know the internet. It exists on the internet somewhere. So, yeah, the first episode of Rick and Morty Season 3, and I couldn't be more pumped for that. I know I don't really, look all that excited, but that's because all my excitement wore off the day of when I was so pumped for it when I was watching it. I immediately texted one of my friends who I had spoken to not too long before, Rick and Morty came on, and I was just like, turn on your TV, Rick and Morty, Rick and Morty forever, 100 years, and it was great. I mean, it was a really good episode. So, like I said, spoilers if you haven't seen it. I've been watching, the clips that are on YouTube, just repeatedly. There's so many, it might be my favorite episode of Rick and Morty ever because it has so many good moments. There's, the part where Rick was talking about what he was leaving in the brainalyzer, which was really funny. I really got, a really big laugh, from, fear of wicker furniture, and tentative plans to buy a new hat. And I love the part with Lawyer Morty. He's not a lawyer, we just keep him around because he's fun. Look at him go!
Yeah! We'll be lean.
And then the part where Rick transfers into the Marshal of the Citadel.
He's a spy, blow him up. I'm gonna go take a shit.
And I just thought it was the greatest episode. I mean, the episode literally had everything. I mean, it had everything that we expect out of Rick and Morty and so much more. I have to say, you know me, as a connoisseur of weird menu items, which is not to say that I'm an expert, it's just that I like the idea of weird menu items. There's a petition to bring back the Mulan szechuan McNugget sauce, and you know what? I am all for that. If we could also bring the sweet chili sauce back. I don't think they have that anymore. I haven't seen it in a while. Cause that sauce I really like. But I want to try the Szechuan sauce, so I'm game for that. If they bring it back, I'll do a video on it. I'll get a 20-piece McNuggets, and I will try it on camera in front of all you people. Mainly what I want to talk about is just how brilliant it was to release it on April Fool's Day, because not only do you look like an asshole to all your friends when you're like, Rick and Morty, and they're like, fuck you, it's April Fool's Day. Like, I prefaced everything with when I told people, I was like, this is not a drill, Rick and Morty. And I thought, and also, my favorite part of the episode, like, number one favorite, was the stinger at the end. Super spoilers if you haven't seen it. If you watched all my other spoilers, but you really don't want, like, major spoilers, I suppose that this could best be stated in a dated nostalgia critic gag. What about Bird Person? Bird Person will live. Bird Person is back, although he's Phoenix Person now, and Tammy now flies him around, like, I guess he's her cyborg bird escort, which is great because Bird Person isn't dead, but he's also a cyborg being controlled by a Galactic Federation agent, so, you know, you gotta take your victories where you get them, So yeah, I'm extremely pumped that Rick and Morty is back. I can't wait to see the rest of season 3, this summer. I said summer and it reminded me of something about Rick and Morty because that's one of the characters. I also liked how we got to see Cronenberg World again, although, it seems a lot different than the last time we were there, with them being a lot more feral than they were with fighting Alf. I mean, I guess it has been a while. That was season 1, now that I think about it, so it's been a whole season. But I mean, I was happy to see them again. And I liked how they keep, bringing back, the idea that just Rick and Morty are buried in the backyard. But yeah, so, I mean, I guess in conclusion, so I don't ramble too much in this, Rick and Morty Season 3 came back. The first episode aired on April Fool's Day. Find it somewhere. It is phenomenal. It is, in my opinion, I think, the best Rick and Morty episode they've ever produced. Like, ever. And I mean, this is saying that when, like, I've said I love, Rick and Morty, like, 2 seasons so far, and I mean, the finale of season 2 was phenomenal, but this is even better than that. And that's not even an exaggeration. If you haven't watched Rick and Morty yet, go back to the beginning, watch it. It's one of the greatest shows ever. And, I've never actually said this before, but when Rick and Morty came out, and it was being advertised on TV, the commercials made it look terrible. It looked like it was some Seth MacFarlane stupid, because the thing is, a lot of the Adult Swim shows, and you're allowed to have your opinion, I find a lot of them to be stupid. Like, not a fan of Squidbillies. Like, really, Robot Chicken is the only Adult Swim show that I ever really liked. Aqua Teen Hunger Force is good. Okay, that's a lie. I like Space Ghost, I like Harvey Birdman Attorney at Law. Let me preface that by saying I like those shows. But, like, the stuff that is currently airing today, and stuff that was currently airing when I was a kid that wasn't reruns, I mean, like Aqua Teen Hunger Force, I mean, it's okay. I mean, that's a lot. I liked Children's Hospital, too. But a lot of the animated shows were hit and miss with me. A lot of them were too weird for me. I mean, they're still too weird for me. There's a certain line that you gotta cross, but Rick and Morty looked terrible. I watched the commercials and I was like, this is terrible. And then they released, M. Night Shyamalan's, Shyamalan's? I'm not sure how you pronounce the title of that. M. Night Shyamalan, whatever. The one with the holodeck thing with Hungry for Apples and My Man, that one. Anyway, so, my point in that was, it looked bad, and I was like, I'm gonna hate this, and then I watched that episode, and I was like, holy shit, this is the best show I've ever seen, and I binged the rest of season 1, although I think it was still airing, so, I think at that point, they were up to the 8th or ninth episode. I'm not sure. All I know is I don't really remember. I mean, this was like 3 years ago at this point, practically. I mean, this was an extremely long time ago, because Rick and Morty, I mean, it's been over a year since season 2 ended, so I was watching season 1, when I was still in high school, and I haven't been in high school in 3 years, so it has to have been 3 years. So anyway, like, I thought it was gonna be terrible, and it's one of the greatest animated series I think is airing. Now, here's the thing. It's actually funny. I had seen, let me preface this by saying, Family Guy is kind of a guilty pleasure for me, so sometimes when I get bored, I'll watch clips on YouTube. So I watched one of the clips from the Simpsons crossover where they, like, said that where they made a joke that the Simpsons and Family Guy are carrying Bob's Burgers, which I took huge offense to, because Bob's Burgers is better than either of those shows are currently. I mean, Bob's Burgers isn't as good as, like, early Simpsons. Like, Bob's Burgers is not anywhere near, like, Bart Gets an F. But, you know, like, current Simpsons, Bob's Burgers is better. So, like I say, like, the only two really good animated shows that are on TV right now, in my opinion, are Rick and Morty and Bob's Burgers. I mean, Archer, yes. Archer is good. But I feel like it would be kind of cheating to put two H. John Benjamin shows on the list of best TV shows of all time, because, I mean, really, it's the same character. Plus, they did a crossover, so it's basically the same show. Disclaimer, I have only seen 3 episodes of Archer, so I'm actually not sure of the quality of Archer. But, I mean, what I've seen is good, and I've only seen, like, the first season, so, I mean, it's gotta be really good. But yeah, so I got rambling, and I didn't mean to get rambling, but I'm sure some of you like the rambling. So, anyway, Rick and Morty, let me sum this up by saying, Rick and Morty Season 3, Rickshank Redemption came back. It is one of the greatest episodes of Rick and Morty they have, and Rick and Morty is one of the greatest animated shows ever. And, you know, if you're gonna watch it, get prepared to get riggedy wrecked, son. So, I will leave you with just one phrase. Wubba lubba dub dub. See you next time.
Thank you all for watching, and if you liked the video, you can hit subscribe and watch one of my other videos. My videos can be found on any of these fine sites, and if you want to help out, maybe consider supporting the show on Patreon. See you next time.